All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to announce a brand new guest to the show. We are doing a very special release on December 12th, Order of the Glass Apes, with a very well-known artist, other than Brian Morris. Brian, how you doing today, my man?
I'm great. How are you? Good to see you.
Likewise, things are great. Can we hop in here and touch on Miami? Because I want to live vicariously through you and
Oh,
see how
wow.
it went.
I'm still recovering. I literally got home a few hours ago.
Yeah.
So if I look like I just woke up, it's because I just woke up. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. As much as it was all about seeing the art, it was really about meeting all these folks that I become friends with through Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Clubhouse, and it's just been it was outstanding. It was amazing.
I think the most amazing thing about the whole NFT world and what's happening is what you just said, is the fact that we're taking these people that who knows what they look like, they're behind their profile pictures, and you get to go to NFT NYC to Miami to these events and meet them.
Yeah.
And I just think that's like something that's so underrated in what's happening right now because I'm sure you're making hundreds of friends.
Well, I mean, I was sitting at a table with some folks, and I mean, we had 6 different states represented there,
Wow.
and we've all known each other for it feels like years now. But it's I don't know, it's like we've been friends forever, but we just never sat face to face and actually shared the air. Um, and I mean, that just kept happening all weekend. It was incredible.
It's beautiful, man. I love that. Did you was this the first event you went to? Did you also go to New York for NFT in New York or no?
I didn't go to New York. I had some commitments that kept me, but this was the first kind of NFT oriented event that I went to. It's definitely not the last. I think my ass is going to be on every plane, going to everything, because
Yeah.
that's really what you said it a minute ago. It's really what it's about is meeting these folks and making new connections, and it's through the arts, but really it's about the connections you make with people.
Yeah, I told myself and everyone in my circle that I can't miss any more events. So 2022,
Mm.
I'm locked in to see what's coming and where we're flying out to. Um, cool, man. So let's dive into just a little bit about like who Brian Morse is, because at the end of the day, I'm sure a lot of people will know you, but there will be some who don't. Can you
Yeah.
give kind of a brief introduction to yourself?
Yeah. So I guess you'd call me an artist. I don't wear that title. I don't choose to give myself that title, but I recently just quit my job as a executive creative director to focus on making art full time. So I guess you could say I'm an artist now. Um, I've drawn my entire life since I was a little kid. Like my earliest memories are sitting on the floor with my dad drawing hot rods and monster trucks. And I guess I still draw hot rods and monster trucks and some apes and some other things now too. So art has been a lifelong passion, and now it's my full-time gig. It doesn't take a back seat anymore.
I love it. And can you give some inspiration just
Mm.
about, I can obviously came to the website. And this is one of the first things I saw, right? It was
Ah,
old school cars. It's just like,
yeah.
what's the kind of backstory on the cars and how much they mean to you and how it kind of got you started?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I just mentioned that some of my earliest memories of drawing were
Yep.
sitting on the floor with my dad drawing cars, and he restored cars when I was a kid.
Hey, yeah.
It was a big part of our family. The cars were a big part of our family, and that passion and love for the automobile just grew and grew as I got older. So the first money I ever spent of my own was on a little Hot Wheel car, and now I build them in my garage. I don't know. It's like a fetish for me. I just absolutely love vehicles. Yeah.
So how many have you obviously we see the one behind you.
Mhm.
How many
Yeah.
have you actually put together and built?
Well, the Volkswagens. This will be the third one that I've
Okay.
built. But I've built quite a few classic cars over the years. The one you were just looking at is my Cadillac, which is really
Yeah.
my baby.
There you go.
Um,
And the prized possession.
yeah. That one they'll probably bury me in it. I think well, it's the only way it's going to work. But yeah, man, cars have just been a big part of my life, and not just cars, but customizing them and building to kind of I have a vision for what these things are supposed to be, and I just do my best to realize that vision. That Cadillac was all about customization.
Right.
Every single body panel of that thing has been customized in some way, custom wheel, everything. But the Volkswagen behind me, I'm building to be just like it rolled off the factory line in 1957.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome.
I just look for what the purest form of that car is and try to make it happen.
That's amazing. So, how did you get into the entire NFT space? What was that first introduction for you?
It was Clubhouse, actually. A
Oh
couple
wow.
buddies told me, like, "Hey, you got to check out this platform because, it's not visual; it's just talking." I was like, "What the? I guess so. I'll check it out." The first room I went into was about digital art, and they were talking about NFTs, and then I don't know. Here we are.
Wow, you're actually the first person I've heard say Clubhouse was the force that got you into here. So what was the first, I guess, project that you collected, you minted, you got into, and were excited about?
Hmm. The first one, well, I started on Foundation. I did a few
Okay.
pieces there, and that was fun. But in terms of like actual projects, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the first one was. I'm trying to remember what the first NFT was that I bought. I'm
Or
kind
I
of
guess,
blanking.
another question. That's fine if you're blanking. Is like, what was the
Mhm.
first project you saw that you're like, oh, this is real. This is gonna be big.
Um, it was the apes. Actually,
Yeah, Bored Apes.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was sitting in a Clubhouse room. I didn't have a wallet yet set up, I don't think. And a lot of my friends were in there, and they were just going nuts about this thing. And I just kind of sat silently and watched it happen. Regrettably, because like
Just
2 days
many of us.
later, I had a wallet, so I could have,
Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Now, obviously, now we've seen Bored Apes turn into this absolute monster of,
Who
which is
knew?
crazy.
Who knew?
Honestly, no one could have predicted this. You're either in or you weren't, and people that are in are having some fun right now. I guess that's the best way best way to put it.
Well, and I think what's awesome is like the folks that are in are really in the sense that community is so strong that, like, for creative like me, I love the apes. They're awesome, but the people I've met through the ape community is
Yep.
just absolutely incredible. When we were in Miami, I was at a party hanging out with this guy. He had a Board Ape Yacht Club shirt on. We started talking. Turns out he went to school here in Chicago. We knew some of the same
Wow.
people. Ended up giving him a ride back to Wynwood, from South Beach that night. Like,
It's
just became fast friends, and it was because of the ape community, really.
it's crazy how you can be connected, so quickly, and it's all over an NFT or like a project. Unreal. So, how did you get into? So, let me say this first. When I first heard about Brian Morris, and obviously okay, who's this guy? Let's check him out and let's see his art. Obviously, you pinned it for a reason, but immediately, I'm sure just like many other people, I'm extremely just drawn to your artwork, your style. I guess your thinking. How did you get into this one where you were, having some fun with some of the bored apes?
Well, I do have a love for cars, and I've drawn them my entire life. So I like drawing shiny things at the end of the day, smooth and shiny things. And so my friend Mitch Putnam, he has an ape, and I've wanted to do a derivative of an ape, but I hadn't yet. And I just asked him one day, give me the permission to take this on, and he said sure. About 4 months later, I actually sat down to draw the damn thing,
Wow.
and yeah, in like 4 or 5 hours, it kind of turned into this glass ape thing. The reason being, his has a really unique profile, like a silhouette to it.
Right.
And I didn't want to disrupt that silhouette because I really thought that's what made his ape look different than everyone else's. And so it kind of forced me to think about, well, what do I put in the ape instead of on the ape? And that's where this whole glass thing kind of really came from. It's this love for drawing shiny things like cars, and not wanting to disturb the silhouette of this guy's ape meant I had to work inside the ape, and those two just things kind of rammed together to make this.
That's amazing. So I guess th- just to, I guess the biggest inspiration for your art is everything based on cars. Growing up, with hot rods and collecting, and then the shininess is coming from the cars. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I love candy paint and chrome, and when I look at these apes, and when I think about how do I want to create one, it's like, how do I just make it the most highly polished, beautiful version of itself? Just super juicy color, oversaturated and just
Yes.
glistening. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's something that immediately popped out was like you said, the shininess, the colors, and then also like just the see through of seeing the body, the brains, those different small things. And since we're on your Twitter right now, I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah.
The username. How did this come about?
Oh wow. Okay, so if you look at your keyboard right in front of you, you see the O and the 0.
Yeah.
They're right next to each other. So it was just really easy to go 0000000.com. That was like, that's still one of my websites. And so, yeah, it just kind of stuck. That was 20 something years ago.
I love it. That's extremely unique, and I love that you're rocking with it. You're sticking with it.
Yeah. People often try to pronounce it. There's no pronunciation for it. It's just a pattern, you know?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. So, again, as I looked in and dived through the OpenSea and just all the different things you've created, I don't even know if this is something that you could answer. Has there been something that you've created that you're just like, I love this. This is a timeless piece for me. It's
Mm.
maybe one of your favorites.
Boy, that's a good question. I think probably the zombie ape is my favorite piece. Like watching that one come to life would just kind of blew my mind.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think the other would be it's in the lower right now. The blue, yeah, that
This
skull.
one? This skull?
Yeah,
Yep.
apprehension or anticipation. Sorry, apprehension is one that's coming. It's not
That's
done yet.
amazing.
This one's called anticipation. I learned so much on the skull. Like it, I just had a field day with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what was like the inspiration behind those? Like, like why skulls? Why painting something beneath them, whether it's the flowers or the backgrounds?
Mm. Well, I've drawn skulls for almost as long as I've drawn cars. If you go really deep on my Instagram, you'll see stuff like I used to design vinyl toys and gig posters.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, they always had skulls. It was always about skulls. And so I kind of brought the skull motif back once I got into NFTs. Like it's fertile territory that I hadn't really explored in digital yet. Yeah.
No, that's really exciting. So, December 12th, we're doing something really cool. Remix Club, Brian Morris, Order of the Glass Apes. Can we touch on maybe, I guess, through talking to you, I'm starting to understand that obviously the inspiration behind it and kind of where it came from in terms of maybe designing that first set of apes. Is that the original inspiration then for Order of the Glass Apes?
Actually, Order of the Glass Apes came from an idea that Tim threw out from the team there. I had, in sharing some of the work with the team on the like the aquarium ape that I had done.
Okay. Yeah.
I had posted an image of it where it was just the highlights of the ape, none of the visuals, none of the fish or any of that stuff. It was just like the highlight layer. And we just started talking about that because it looked really stunning and just very simple. And then that's where it was born from. Like, how do we make a collection that is just the glass, only the glass? And that's where it came from.
That's beautiful. So obviously I'll just pull it up real quickly here so we can give kind of a bit of a teaser and potentially maybe some walkthrough. Would you mind explaining just how things are going to work and what people can expect on Mint Day on December 12th?
Yeah. So it's quite the collection. It is 50 different unique pieces, each an edition of 10 in the collection. So there's 550. There's 5 unique apes, each with 10 different backgrounds. But don't for a minute think that we just slapped in a different background over the glass apes. Really spent a lot of time going in and making sure the reflections and all that great stuff was suitable for the color, and it was kind of bringing the best of the shape to life. So each one's hand done. Like I said, there's 5 apes, 10 different colorways, and then there's a couple different traits that you can collect as well. So you can collect by color, by ape, by trait, across colorways, and then you can even find some new ways to collect that you want to. You can make up your own ways of collecting too, which I think is awesome.
No, this is super exciting. In terms of something that makes this a little bit different than some other projects, obviously we're looking at potentially maybe having some further utility past the mint. Is there anything you could speak on in that respect?
Yeah. So just as there are many ways to collect the apes in this collection, when you do collect in those, there'll be little rewards for those different collection types. So if you collect a specific colorway, maybe there's a sixth ape in that colorway, and that's the only way that you can get that particular ape. Or if you collect all of one of the traits, so the two of the traits, one is a fly and another is a crack. So some of the apes have a little crack in the glass. If you collect all the cracks, perhaps there's an ape that's unlocked that is like a severely cracked glass ape, that's
Beautiful.
new to the collection.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that we're just adding new things into it to add to the enticement of collecting these. And what about the potential of maybe having something built in even further? Some gamification, some further utility. What can we just maybe tease right now?
I don't know. I really don't know what I could tell you. I really don't.
There, that's perfect tease right there. That's all we needed to hear from Brian is that there's something potentially.
Yeah. We've
cool.
talked about a lot. It's like, what's going to be the most valuable thing to do? Is really the
Absolutely.
question.
Yeah. No, this is exciting, Brian. For those who are watching and listening, Brian's also going to be doing like a live AMA on December 8th, which is next week with JDK, one of our team members. So that'll be a lot more in depth, where you're actually live asking Brian questions. You guys are having fun. But Brian, thank you, man. This has been cool. I love that we're able to connect and kind of get to meet each other. And I'm really looking forward to dropping this and seeing the reaction and what we can kind of build out from here.
Oh man, thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time today. It was good to talk to you, and I can't wait to see these things out in the world.
Thanks, my man.